Welcome to another edition of WCW, how I would book it, 1998. This is Monday Nitro, the go-home show to SuperBrawl 1998, coming up this weekend, February week 3. We kick the show off tonight with Mike, Bobby, and Tony discussing what's on tap for tonight, including Hulk Hogan versus Diamond Dallas Page in the main event, as well as we will see Harlem Heat, Bret Hart, and Goldberg all in action tonight on Nitro. This video that we see come up next is a video of Hulk Hogan and Savage promoting what happened last week between Hogan and Savage, with Savage in a way challenging Hogan for the right to be considered the leader of the NWO. Hogan said no. I guess we'll see what happens next. But it was left at Savage yelling at Bischoff, telling Bischoff that he treats Hogan different than he treats Randy. And Savage doesn't like it. And he wants a match at SuperBrawl to prove that he is better than Hulk Hogan. The following segment is Lex Luger challenging anybody backstage to a match where he wants to prove why he deserves to be considered one of the best in WCW. Right here. And he also mentions Buff Bagwell, who considers himself the total package, and tells Buff Bagwell to feast your eyes on this match to see what a real total package is, as Lex Luger goes up against Louis Spicolli, and Lex Luger comes out the victor pretty easily against the younger Spicolli in the opening match on Nitro. And then Lex Luger calls out Buff Bagwell to come out to the ring and face him face to face, but no Buff Bagwell. Buff Bagwell does not respond to the challenge from Lex Luger, and it is left unanswered. Luger leaves the ring puzzled, wondering, and this is the problem doing everything improv, but whatever. Luger leaves the ring puzzled and a little pissed off because he didn't get his challenge answered from Buff Bagwell. Now we move to the next match, which is the Giant against Conan. Later on this year, the Giant will have a crap load to do, but right now, Giant is in transition between one storyline to another, and is just being featured every now and again on the show, like he is. Yeah, like he was in real life. The announcer, we move back to the broadcast position with Mike, Bobby, and Tony. And the three men talk about how later on tonight we will see a contract signing between Scott Hall and Sting to make their match this Sunday night at SuperBrawl, career versus title official. We move backstage and we zoom in on get backstage to see Kevin Nash on his phone, talking to someone. We don't know who, but he's talking to someone, and the mystery, it sounds intriguing. Who could it be, and what could Kevin Nash be planning for the NWO? We move to the next match. Harlem Heat back in action against this week against the Blue Bloods, and the Harlem Heat redeemed themselves following the hard-fought loss last week against the Faces of Fear in the #1 Contender Tag Team title match. As even though they feel they were screwed out of the title defense, out of the title shot rather, by Jimmy Hart. Now we move to the next segment with Randy Savage making his way out to the ring, and he calls out NWO member Eric Bischoff. As usual, Randy's segments will be open-ended, meaning Randy writes his segment, and I just okay it. That's it. I don't, put anything in it, add to it, subtract from it. I okay it. That's it. The next segment, Bischoff comes out, and in this segment, Randy intimidates him. Randy intimidates Bischoff, saying something like this: "You know what, Bischoff? You're not a man. If you were a man, you would stand up for yourself and see Hollywood Hogan is just using your power to his advantage. If you didn't have the power you did, you wouldn't be Hollywood Hogan's lackey. I'm not Hogan's lackey. I'm his boss, just like I'm your boss, Randy. You better watch yourself, or you'll end up in the same position Scott Hall ended up for speaking out." Eric, there's this issue between me and Hulk. You and I both know that the NWO can't handle another fracture. You give me my match at SuperBrawl against Hogan for me and Hulk to settle our issues. And after SuperBrawl, our issues will be over, and the NWO can move ahead and take care of that menace, that problem that is Hall and Nash. You want a match against Hulk? You say that if you get your match against Hulk at SuperBrawl, you'll let your issues die, you'll move ahead, and we can focus on Nash and Hall? You got it. You know what, Randy? You got your match. Because you and I know the NWO is strongest when we're together. Hold up, Eric. I want my match on one condition. But I want a condition, I want a stipulation in my match. That stipulation is, if I win, I become the leader of the NWO. You want to rescind your you want to take back your acceptance of the match? Then guess what, Eric? Not only will I leave this faction, the NWO, not only will I leave the NWO, but I will walk out the door of the WCW, and I won't look back. Randy, come on. You don't want to do this. You don't want to walk away. You got your match. Fine, you got your match. After intimidating Eric, Randy gets his match because he not only threatened to leave the NWO and weaken the NWO even more than it already has been, but also weaken WCW and lead the WCW Board of Directors to question Eric Bischoff's competence if a major name like Randy Savage was willing to walk away from the company. Now we move to the next match, which is Goldberg against Mortis, and Goldberg's undefeated streak continues this week against Mortis. Now we move to the next segment, which the announcers hype up one of the biggest matches in Nitro this year and in a long time. This year, Diamond Dallas Page, the United States Champion, against Hollywood Hogan as the main event tonight. Now we move backstage where Bret Hart is walking backstage and he turns a corner and bumps into Buff Bagwell. Bagwell says something to Hart, and Hart doesn't take too kindly to what Bagwell said. See, the problem with us is the audio backstage is not working. Is popping in and out, so we're hearing every other word. We can see that they start arguing, and then Bagwell from out of nowhere just challenges Bret Hart to a match later tonight. Speaking of later tonight, Bret Hart and Buff Bagwell's impromptu contest goes off without a hitch, and Bret Hart leaves victorious against the member of the New World Order. But following the match, from out of nowhere, Curt Hennig makes his way, attacks the Hitman, Bret Hart, from behind, leaving him lying in the middle of the ring. Some may think that this could have been a setup for Bret Hart to bump into NWO member Buff Bagwell backstage, only to make his way out to the ring, defeat Buff Bagwell. You gotta wonder if either way would Bret Hart have gotten attacked by other NWO members, including Curt Hennig. Now we move again back to the broadcast position with Mike, Bobby, and Tony talking about the main event, Hollywood Hogan against Diamond Dallas Page, which is next. And Hollywood Hogan defeats Diamond Dallas Page, and the distraction from Perry Saturn plays a part, as Perry Saturn does not play a part in the finish, but does play a part in the match, as Perry Saturn and Lodi actually distract Diamond Dallas Page at one point, which leads later in the match, which leads Diamond Dallas Page later in the match to notice Raven, Kidman, Riggs, and Hammer over the railing watching the match in the crowd. And that distracts Diamond Dallas Page enough, allowing Hogan to recoup his losses, as Diamond Dallas Page almost defeated the former world champion. But because of the flock, Hollywood Hogan was able to recuperate, get back up, following a diamond cutter, and defeat Diamond Dallas Page. The next segment is the contract signing, starred by J.J. Dillon, to make career versus title, Hall versus Sting at SuperBrawl official. The thing The one thing that the one thing that is to, I guess, write home about is seeing Scott Hall actually shake hands with Sting, wishing him luck for the match at SuperBrawl, and Sting doesn't know what to make of it. Totally unexpected from Scott Hall and after Scott Hall's history in WCW. But nonetheless, it leads many fans to question Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's allegiance when it comes to the New World Order. And now we move to the end of the broadcast. A decent show, not as good as I wanted it to be, but still a decent show as we move into the pay-per-view this Sunday night. SuperBrawl. Main event. Scott Hall versus Sting, career versus title for the WCW World Heavyweight title. And Kevin Nash is barred from ringside. Randy Savage versus Hollywood Hogan for control of the New World Order. After Randy intimidates Hollywood Hogan, Deborah McMichael challenges her husband at SuperBrawl, and as she and her new client, Alex Wright, look to topple Steve Mongo McMichael on the big stage. Also, what seems to be possibly the main event, the final match between the Faces of Fear and the Steiner Brothers will take place this Sunday night at SuperBrawl, as the Faces of Fear look to regain the tag team titles from the Steiners. Also, passed down from the WCW Championship Committee, Chris Benoit will defend his TV title against Chris Jericho this Sunday night at SuperBrawl. All that and more on pay-per-view. Call your local cable provider for more information in ordering SuperBrawl live on pay-per-view. And remember, don't forget to drop your opinion of tonight's show in the comment section below, and leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, for more unique content just like this that you can only find right here on Wrestling Express. Till next time, see you later.